Mm, mm. I thought somebody said something. What's happening, y'all? What's happening? My peeps. I know y'all like Miko, you're a little bit late. I am. It's been a busy day. And I had gotten from the gym and I had to taste some of the wife's pasta. She made pasta night, not spaghetti, but pasta. We grew up, we had some of that good old getty. You hear me? But wife made some great pasta tonight. So I'm prepared for that. So I'm actually hungry as hell. I had ran my mile today. Shout out to the Nike Club that I'm a part of. And I had did my workout though. Usually when I get on here and do live with y'all is right after I work out. So I'm rushing home to get back to y'all and drink and have a cigar. While still not having eaten yet. But we're gonna get to all that. So we got some good topics tonight to talk about. What everybody's sipping on. Y'all know the routine, y'all know how we get down. Okay. Mm, mm, there we go. Breakthrough fruit. Y'all know how we get down tonight, baby. Should just leave my cigar cutter, but I'm in a rush tonight, so to get to y'all. So mm, it's the old school way cutting your cigars. Just bite the tip off. Pause. Pause. We don't pause. Can y'all hear me though? Make sure y'all can hear me. Can y'all see me? Everything good? Mm, mm. Age 20? She said that age 20. You always at work. Just let me get my cutter. This is Olivia. I want to act right. All right. Here we go. There we go. Mm. Got a nice torch for my birthday. Mm. We cooking, baby. We cooking. All right, good. Jasmine says she's sipping that H2O. Always at work, but it's all good. It's all good. H2O is the way to go. Let's see. Let's see what I missed. I have an open house tonight. All right, Linda, we're gonna catch you later. Then go ahead and sell them houses. You know what I'm saying? Because people need affordable places to stay. You hear me? All right, Candace. Let's see what we got. Cordis, what's happening, brother? Whiskey. That's what I'm talking about. I ain't the only one right now. I got some. Uh, what's the one that Diddy got fired from? That tequila. I'm drinking some of that and some Sprite Zero. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get it cracking tonight. We got some good stuff to talk about. It's going down because some stuff went down. You hear me? Yeah, if you've been on social media this week, you know what I'm talking about. Justin, what's cracking, brother? Justin, you still up in here? All right, you up in here. All right, let's see what we got going on. Everything to go. Appreciate that, Cortez. Whiskey and Mercer. Oh, you got the good stuff. You got the good stuff. I like that. I like that. All right. Justin. There we go. Bad scripting. Okay. That's what I like to hear, baby. That's what I like to hear. Mm, mm. Oh, baby. Let's see. Let's see. All right. All right. So what I'm about to do is I actually want to start to kind of let's warm things up. We're gonna go over three brief tech news topics. Because I post if you follow me on LinkedIn or Facebook or what have you, Twitter, and practically anywhere. I think anywhere but YouTube is the only place I don't post tech news, but just about every day I'm posting tech news. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna share tech news with y'all, and I'm gonna share three of them. And we're gonna do the rules are like this. If we dig in the news, like if we're digging, if this is something that's relevant to cloud engineering, cloud architect, and cloud technology, then we're gonna deploy it. We're gonna say, yeah, we like that. Deploy it. If it's not relevant to cloud technology, or we think it's whack, or we think it's trash, or not interesting, we're going to say Control C, which means cancel. All right. And if Justin working with Bash scripting, when you hit Control C in Linux, what does it do? There you go. It cancels out the command. All right. So we'll cancel the story. All right. So first story I wanted to get to tonight, we're gonna go through three of them before we get to the main topic. It kind of allows us like my icebreaker, allowed me to warm up while people get in and tell their friends to get in and get on. Hurry up, girl, don't miss him, girl. You hear me? So first one we're gonna get into this. I found this to be interesting, but I want to hear y'all and I'm not gonna read the whole article, of course. I'm just gonna kind of go over the summary of it. But let me see, where was it? Mm, there we go. Heck. Oh, dang, hope I can find. All right, so this one. So after collecting $22 million, Alpha V ransomware group stages FBI takedown. I'm just read you one little summary. The ransomware group responsible for hamstringing the prescription drug market for 2 weeks has suddenly gone dark just days after receiving a $22 million payment and standing accused of scamming an affiliate out of a share of the loot. The events involve Alpha V, a ransomware group also known as Black Cat. To 2 weeks ago, it took down Change Healthcare, the biggest US healthcare payment processor, leaving pharmacies, healthcare providers, patients scrambling to fill prescriptions for medicines. On Friday, the Bitcoin ledger shows the group received nearly $22 million in cryptocurrency, stoking suspicious uh, stoking suspicions the deposit was paid by Change Healthcare in exchange for AlphaV decrypting his data and compromising to delete it and promising to delete it. So are we going to deploy? So basically, what this Alpha V ransom group is their hacker group, right? And that hacker group that hacked Change Healthcare, which is a healthcare payment processor company, probably the one of the biggest in the world, but definitely the biggest in the U.S. And they basically held all of their data hostage for 22 million. For no, yeah, for $22 million. Yeah, and said that look, if you give us $22 million, then we'll release, basically your system back to you. We'll release everything back to you, and we'll delete our whole, on your, we'll delete all the data that we took from your company. And the company supposedly paid them out, and the ransomware group seemed like they're abiding by their promise. I don't know if they deleted the data, but they certainly relinquished the lock grid that they had on their system infrastructure. So the reason I brought that up is because I thought it was an interesting story because it shows the necessity and importance of security engineering. All right, there's cloud security, there's cyber security, on-premise security, information security. It's security. All right, and there's not enough companies out there taking security measures seriously enough to be able to just hire more security talent. You need even junior level. You need more bodies in the seats. Even junior level security engineers, those with no experience, and train them up to become prominent security engineers for your company. You know, so now you have a company like this big paid out $22 million. That's $22 million you could have put in the budget to just hire and train your security staff, your security engineers, cloud security engineers, junior security engineers, network engineers, IM engineers, etc. So, are we deploying that story, or are we going to control C cancel that story? Is it interesting to cloud technology or is it not? Y'all let me know. I'll go on to the next story. The next one I found to be interesting too. Well, I mean, all these are interesting, apparently, because I'm saying facts. Hire more junior engineers. Yeah, I think stories like that kind of always overstate the case. Like companies, like there's a red flag going on. We have a hacker problem. The hacker problem is here. It's not a myth. It's not mythical. It's not about if it's going to happen in your organization. It's just when. Right? All right. All right, quarters, we're gonna deploy that. All right, so we filling that. We filling that story. All right, so we deploying it. So if you follow my other other social media, Instagrams, Facebook, what have you, I'm gonna post that story up. That way you have the link, the actual link to it. But I felt that was pretty cool. Like and it's pretty lengthy. They're gonna detail. It's supposed to be it's telling the story about hackers with ethics or some type of moral amongst thieves. Though $22 million is a lot to pay for morals. You hear me? All right, so this next one. All right, we got two more. This one and we've got one more after this. All right, so OpenAI says Elon Musk wanted absolute control of the company. It will move to dismiss all of Musk's claims from a breach of contract lawsuit filed last week. OpenAI responded to Musk's lawsuit saying that he at one point wanted absolute control of the company. And OpenAI said it will move to dismiss all of Elon's claims and offered its own counter narrative to this account of the company abandoning its original mission as a nonprofit. And I'm gonna kind of get in the summary of what this is. I'm gonna leave this last part. As we discussed, a for profit structure in order to further the mission, Elon wanted us to merge with Tesla, or he wanted full control, including majority equity, initial board control, and to be CEO. According, damn, Elon, according to the Post, which is authorized by OpenAI, co founders Greg Brockman, Sam Altman, of course, Welch. If I'm sweaters, again, I'm hot, Jim, working out, you know how I go. We couldn't agree to the terms on a for profit with Elon because it felt it was against the mission for our individuals to have absolute control over AI. So basically, what this article is about is that um, is that uh, is that Elon Musk basically is trying to buy OpenAI, and he tried to he fund helped fund OpenAI. And if you know, OpenAI is basically ChatGPT. He helped fund it in the beginning, and in his origin thoughts, the funding of OpenAI was supposed for him to be an open source nonprofit. Now, what open source means is that all of the tools and processes that you're publishing is good for it's open to the public. I mean, the public can look under the hood to see how your company is made up. Basically, you're basically a public nonprofit ish company, almost like a Terraform is open source, almost like a what else is open source? Jenkins used to be open source at one point. Stack Overflow used to be open source. Just all these community tech community things. Even Kubernetes at one point was open source. Well, HashiCorp is open source. So Elon said, "I'm going to invest in your company um, as long as you basically make me king of the company, make me CEO. I get to run everything, and I get to merge your technology with Tesla." And apparently, long later down the road, OpenAI did none of that. Elon is not the CEO. You don't have OpenAI in any of the Tesla projects, etc. And so Elon is suing them for the money plus profit that he originally helped to fund OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. So, rich folks problem, super rich folk, elite folk problem. So we're gonna cancel that, Control C, or we're gonna deploy that. Hmm. Work drinking, some kids zero. That's what I'm talking about. 225. That's what I'm talking. Control C. Okay, we're gonna control C that story. We're gonna get rid of that one. Yeah, I figured that wasn't that ain't our problem. You hear me? I'm damn sure not finna help Elon fight his own battles. You hear me? As he ain't give me a percentage anyway. All right. The last one I'm gonna get to is the outage. So the Facebook outage, Instagram outage. So as you know, Instagram, WhatsApp, and there's a few more applications that are all subsidiaries of Meta, right? Even Facebook is a subsidiary of Meta, right? And basically went down this week, and they're trying to figure out why. All right. Initially, everybody thought it was a attack, but experts internally have stated that it's not a cyber attack; it's a technical issue. Now, it caused it to go down. I think it was down for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. But that cost Facebook, that cost Meta alone, it stopped the plummet 1.2%, which cost their company alone $10 billion. So they lost $10 billion in 10 to 15 minutes just from being down. This all spoke to technical issues and why it's important. I made this post on Facebook about, but this is why it's important to test your disaster recovery systems. All right, to proof test it, not to just build a DR method. And it's like, oh, since everything's showing that it's available, in the cloud or what have you, that it works. Oh, it's up and running. You still have to test it by having at least a portion of your production system go down, and then for your DR to kick in, your disaster recovery methods to kick in. So this is what happens when you don't conduct DR tests. All right. Again, this is just bad engineering, bad practices of engineering, poor maintenance. Again, this is why instead of laying off all those folks, Meta, you need it all. This is why you don't just lay off all your talent, because they take all the knowledge with them. All right. And because these C-level suite executives aren't in the weeds of engineering, they don't really know what's going on, and they don't know what these engineers are up keeping up and running every day. They don't know what systems they're keeping afloat every day. So are we deploying this story? Is it relevant to cloud technology, or are we going to control C? Or are we going to cancel this story about Facebook? Y'all let me know before we move on to the main subject of the night. Okay, we're gonna deploy that one. Let's go though. Let's deploy, baby. We deploy. All right, we taking. I need to get some sound effects going in there. I'm gonna get that cracking. Don't worry. Yeah. As we grow, we grow. You hear me? So I wanted to get to the main point of the night. So we basically have it to where. So I wanted to talk about something that is important, because I even talked about this with my students who graduated. By the way, they graduated boot camp. What, just last week or 2 weeks ago? Super happy, super excited for them. I got some great reviews and feedback from boot camp. Amazing. The students all did amazing, amazing jobs, man. I posted one of the reviews, and I try not to put people faces out there because you never know what people have going on, what have you. I put the audio of one of the students out there on the YouTube, so he has he gave his review, and I let the whole thing rip. I didn't edit nothing, didn't cut nothing. I just let it rip, right? And so he's giving me his raw take from his experience in our cloud training boot camp. So you can go check that on our YouTube page. But I wanted to speak about today's subject because this is the area where most newbies who are transitioning into cloud technology and cloud engineering careers, cloud security careers, this is where they drop the ball. This is where they fold. They also fold when it hits the command line, but when it comes time to touch command line. But this is where most of them don't do the work, and this is why boot camps are important, trainings are important. Um, any type of career planning, career assistance is important, because it's one thing. I see too many newbies focus too much on just getting the technical stuff. They say, I want to get my certifications. I'm studying for my certs. Some of them may even be working on a project or two, right? And that's all you see from them for months and years. But you don't. But they're never taking any act, and then they're wondering why they're not getting calls for their resumes. They're not wondering why they're not getting interviews for their resumes. They're like, "What's wrong with my resume? What's wrong? I don't have enough. I don't know enough." Most of them aren't. The truth is, most of them aren't applying for jobs. That's just the honest truth. I seen one person. It's like, I've been unemployed for like 6 months now, blah 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 blah, and I've applied to, like, I think she said like 8 jobs this month. I'm like, 8 jobs. But anyway, I get to all that to say that the reason that you aren't applying for the roles is because most of you all are intimidated by the interview process, because most of you all have never conducted a tech interview. So you don't even know what to expect. So therefore, you're afraid of even attempting going after roles that may even require more experience than you currently have. Meanwhile, some bimbo who doesn't even have half the skill, half the experience you have, applies for that role and ends up getting it because they face their fears. But I kind of want to walk you all through what the interview process is like because I don't see many. I think many of you newbies don't know what's on the inside of what's on the other side of getting into your first cloud tech career position. You don't really know what that process looks like, to successfully go through an interview phase, multiple interview phases. And I'm someone who went through hundreds of interviews, okay, of in my past 5 year career, 5, 6 year career, and I've been at 5 different organizations throughout these 5, 6 years. So I know a little bit, all right, about these things. So all right, and I've helped others get through their interviews. But so here's a process. All right, the process goes as so. Usually, you're going to have 4 rounds of interviews. All right, 4 rounds. All right, y'all ready? Are y'all ready for this? I need to see some comments. I need some. Just say ready. Just say that you're ready in the comments so that I know y'all ready for what I'm about to do. You got your notes out. Ready for the interview process, and then I'm going to teach you how to ace this interview process. Jasmine, I know you ready because you sober. Mm, okay. 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 Okay, Justin. Okay, let's go then. Okay. So you're usually going to have 4 rounds of interviews, and here's how they go. You should not approach each one the same. That is the worst that you can do. All right. Usually, the first round of interviews occurs with a recruiter reaching out to you via email or via LinkedIn. All right. Or they'll call you. All right. Usually the best kind of pitches or most the best kind of leads to pursue because all type of foreign recruiters or even some miscellaneous recruiters will flood your inbox up. But usually the legit ones hit your LinkedIn. They hit your LinkedIn and they're working for a familiar company, a company that you can research. They're not just saying I'm an entrepreneur or I'm a recruiter at USA or whatever. They work for an actual recruitment company that you can research. All right, you know, they're persons from your actual country that you can relate to. Right, and those are usually credible persons because LinkedIn has this verification process as well, and it does pretty good against eliminating spam. So usually, if a recruiter hits your LinkedIn DM, your money, or if they hit your Indeed DM, that's usually money. That means that's a lead that you might want to act on. All right. Now they may call your phone. As I always say, when they call your phone, make them send you an email so you can check out the job, and most importantly, so you can really check them out. You want to see if this is a legit person that you're giving your information to, or just wait. You're not wasting your time sending a confirmed right to represent email, blah blah blah, answering questions, da 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 da. So number one is getting, but that's going to be usually your hardest step is getting past the recruiter. All right, the tech recruiter. And this is where your certifications and your projects come into play when you lack a lot of hands-on experience, because those credentials can get you past that qualifier round. Because that's most of these tech recruiters aren't tech persons. They don't know anything about code. They don't know about infrastructure as code. If you put a piece of code in front of them, in most cases, they wouldn't know how to debug any kind of cloud resource. They can't tell you the difference between a security group and a VM, you know. But that's not what they're there for. They're really salespersons, and having a really good recruiter is like having a really good tax person. They're important, especially when they're good. All right, because they have really good job leads. They get to know you very well, and most importantly, they have a tight relationship with the employers who are their clients. All right, they may be different, especially if they're a recruiter and for working for a recruitment firm, and they work with many different clients. Those are great recruiters to have, um, as well as recruiters who actually work internally with the company. Those are also the best. Those are the great recruiters to talk to because you're talking to somebody that has inside intel on the job. But so this is what, again, your certs and your projects come into play because they don't know this stuff. All they know is a checklist that a hiring manager, someone gave them to run down and make sure this person has most of these. All right. Now you want to work with a crew recruiter. You want to have a good relationship, build a good rapport, and talk with a recruiter who's acknowledging that you have most of what they're looking for. Don't waste your time with a recruiter who's looking for you to match each and every item on there. Because if they're looking for you to match each and item on there, they don't know what kind of talent they're really looking for, and they don't know the job well enough, and don't have a great relationship with the hiring manager. And therefore, when you submit your materials to them, they're not going to be able to sell you well to get interviewed by the hiring manager. All right. So that's going to be the key difference in being able to help you would differentiate a legitimate recruiter versus a recruiter that's likely going to waste your time. All right. Um, because again, they look at those stats. So yes, your certs matter. Yes, your projects matter. All right, because you can just keep stacking projects on there, and it makes up as your work experience. Even if you've done it while working at a company, and the company itself might not have had you exactly do those tasks, but you still know how to do that work and can easily communicate it in an interview. Yeah, I did it while I was at this company. Doesn't mean you did it for the company. You did it while you were working at the company. You might have did it after hours, before hours, whatever, lunch break, whatever. So that's number one is different making qualifying the recruiter, qualifying to get past the recruiter, and making sure that you're dealing with a quality recruiter who has quality leads. That's going to be your number one job. All right. Always research a recruiter. Make sure they're coming from a legitimate company, and then make sure that they're not asking you to have everything they're looking for. They ask you that everything that they're looking for. They say you got to have everything, and don't do it. It's going to be a waste of time. They don't know the person's hiring that well, and it's just going to be a waste of time. So, all right, if you're ready for number two, the second step in the interview, and then usually it's only going to be like a 15-minute call. And that's another thing. I hate getting on the phone with recruiters, and I know that they're going to waste my time, and they want to talk for a long time. Usually, if a recruiter message you, especially if they hit you on LinkedIn, what have you. Usually, if they're a good recruiter, they've been doing this thing for a minute, they got good connections with the hiring manager, etc. They're going to uh, they're going to give you they're just going to want your resume. They can look over it easily and see if you will qualify for the role or not. They'll tell you off rip if the hiring manager will want to see you or not. All right. Otherwise, they're going to want to say, well, we got to do a phone process. It's probably going to take 15 to 20 minutes. I got to have you video on camera. Da, 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 da. When you somebody seasoned like me, I don't have time for that because I'd rather deal with a seasoned recruiter. But if you're a newbie coming in, go through it. All right. Because you're not seasoned yet. You don't know enough yet. So you need to go through that process. All right. Um, all right. So if you're ready for number two, put two in the chat. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right, Janice, she ready. That's what I'm talking about. Somebody, she's sober and ready. The rest of y'all, Justin and Cortez is like, duels, workout, drinking liquor. Yeah, I'm gonna sweat. So I appreciate y'all for being patient with me. All right, cool. So number two, mm, now this is the good stuff. This is the money now. Now we starting to get to the money round. Getting through the recruiters is always the hard part because you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a princess. All right. But when you get a good recruiter that passes you on to the hiring manager, they pass your resume on to the hiring manager, now you're cooking. Now the grease is starting to get warm because the hiring manager can actually make a decision to pass you on. Now you're actually interviewing. At first, you were qualifying with the recruiter. Now you're actually interviewing and talk to the hiring manager. Now, here's the thing with the hiring manager. The hiring manager, let me switch banners up here. So with the hiring manager, all right, um, the hiring manager is going, they want, so it's not going to be a technical interview with the hiring manager. The hiring manager really just wants to know if you're a professional and if you have enough technical chops to be able to perform the role. So they're not going to be checking, going down your resume and checking line by line by line, asking you to prove the project, what talk you through the projects that you went through. No, they're going to go down your resume and they're going to tell you, to ask you to tell you about your experience. And they're going to introduce themselves. They're going to tell you about the role, and then they're going to talk about your experiences and how, and want to see or hear, or you may even ask you how your experiences relate to the role that they're looking for. So if they're looking for a cloud engineer, and they tell you about the role, what they're trying to do, there's like, yeah, we're just looking for a cloud engineer who can support 12 clients that we have, da da da. They're in a production environment to help build out our dev environment to support our production environment. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience? And that is your opportunity, not to tell your whole story. This ain't where you do your selling that. This is where you just show and prove. You say, oh, yeah, I have experience building out a dev environment. I did it with such and such Cisco. Da, 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 da. I had to build out a dev environment in GCP. Da, da, da. I did had a brief project that I worked on where I did X and da da da. I worked in Terraform. I did was JSON scripting. Da 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 da. And yeah, to help deploy environment to the cloud, to help them build out a GCP. I built out my own GCP pipeline or whatever, and I use Jenkins. I use such and such, right? So and it's you're showing how it's related to the role because they're like, oh yeah, well we use Jenkins or we use uh, JSON scripting. We use a GCP environment. That's perfect. Oh, yeah, we're GCP shops. Oh, and I want to throw this caveat in there. After you talk to the recruiter, here's another sign of a good recruiter. They're going to send you the job description. Study the job description. All right, study the job description and compare the job description up with your resume so that you can, and even if you got to throw it in Chat GPT or something like that to do a compare contrast, so that you can be able to highlight the points that match during the interview with the hiring manager. Because the hiring manager themselves aren't really technical persons. All right. In most cases, they're really like they're either the internal HR person, they're either a high level up manager, um, and they're just they're so far beyond the actual work. They just know what kind of work is being done and what kind of idea of what kind of skills a person is looking for. If they're looking for a newbie, they're going to be open to look for a newbie. If they're looking for somebody with mid-tier skills, they're looking for. So you just got to really just speak. They're going to give you the answer at the beginning of the interview. All you have to do, and you have the answers in the job description. All you got to do is speak to your strong points. Don't go. And even if they say, "Well, do you know Ruby?" Right? Or do you know Python? If you don't know it, just say you don't know. You say I'm not familiar with it, but just like I wasn't familiar with Linux code, it's something that I can pick up. Boom. All right, that way you show that you're a learner, and at the same time you're admitting your faults. Here's why this is important. Hiring managers, they hear the gripes of the actual team about past employees. In most cases, they past the gripes that they're hearing is that people come on like they know X, Y, and Z, and then they get in the actual role and don't know anything. But they have all the credentials in the world, all the certifications, all the degrees, right? And have fraudulated their whole resume, right? Um, so admit what you don't know because that looks good. They will appreciate and respect stuff like that, and to show that you can learn it, and to give an example of something you didn't know that's relative to that, and show how you did learn it. Am I making sense to y'all so far? Did I lose y'all at any point of that? We're talking to the hiring manager. Talk to me. Very good. Justin understands me. Somebody, as long as somebody understands. But yeah, so the hiring manager isn't. They're not going to. They're not there to. I got you. They're here to see what tier here to see what fit are you like. Are you a good fit for the role? Are you an ideal candidate? Not the perfect candidate, but an ideal candidate. Are you a person that's a learner? Are you a self-initiator? They're actually looking for more interpersonal qualities than they are technical qualities. All right, so show them and talk about the project you worked on. Show them how you were self-taught. Show them that you entered yourself into different training organizations. Show them that, like, talk through the stuff. Like, even if you was on your job and you wasn't really in the technical role, but you took on technical tasks that you found gaps you found in the job. You know, just tell them about. They want to hear what kind of employee and worker that you are. You know, that's really it. And it's not going to be a long interview. It's probably going to be 30 minutes. Again, the hiring manager isn't that, and it's going to be so quick. And they want to move you on. You really just got to give them a reason not to move you on. Like, if you don't know anything about the things that they've asked for in the job description, they're gonna get you out of there. But if you know some of the thing about if you know half of the things and have did at least 30% of the things, they're gonna be okay, cool, we can move you on. All right. Because y'all got to keep in mind, it's expensive to hire. Right? It costs companies money to hire. They got to pay a recruiter, all right, to scout somebody out. They got a job that's needed, all right, that's helping their company stay afloat or helping their company grow. And the longer vacant that job is probably somebody leaving or somebody that already left. The longer vacant it is, the more money it's costing. So their time and money is everything. They're not wasting time on you. You're not just, oh, I got lucky. I'm so blessed for them to want to interview me. No, they interviewing you. The hiring manager, especially, is interviewing you because they see that you have the potential to fill the role. You have to just give them. You just have to not give them a reason not to give you the role. You have to give them a reason. Did I say it right? You have to not give them a reason not to give you the role. All right. You just don't blow it. All right. They already want you. It's like the girl that thinks you're cute and she's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna talk to her. As long as you don't come at her being super creepy and weird, she gonna give you her number. She was gonna give you her number anyway. It's the same thing with the hiring manager in the second round. All right. So if y'all ready for the third round, give me some threes. Am I cooking so far? Am I cooking? You know, is the grease getting warm? Am I making sense to y'all? Three, 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 three. Good, 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 good. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So here's the third round. So here's where things get exciting. And here's what most people also fold because they're scared to go to that they're scared. Oh, hold on, let me see. Let me hibachi. I appreciate that, Corey, bro. I like that, man. I want to read 225 girl comment. I have had to not go through applying for entry level application because majority of the qualifications call for some type of class with SQL, Azure, and me fearing not exactly. Like I told y'all, most people don't even apply for roles because they're afraid of getting exposed in interviews. They don't. And then some bimbo who don't care is going to apply and don't even have half the knowledge you have, is going to apply, get through the interview rounds, and boom, get the job. And trust me, I've worked with those bimbos, both male and women. But yeah, as I always say, apply anyway and make the recruiters or hiring managers do their job and disqualify you. Never disqualify yourself. Never. If when you get that call from that recruiter, and you get past that recruiter, yeah, I got this, yeah, I know this, yeah. And even if you don't know it, 'cause they don't know, they can't verify. They don't know. Just yeah, I know this, yeah, I know this, yeah, I know this. It's when you get to the hiring manager, you need to have done your Googles, you need to have go through some Azure, go through some SQL commands, go through some AWS. Oh yeah, well, I don't do that in my current role, but I had a project where I had to run some do some compare and contrast of different various columns and bring them together and I don't know SQL that well myself, but I know a little bit. But um, yeah, combine some column run. I had to query some columns and query out the users who have deactivated, who have accounts that's to be deactivated in 30 days or something like that. And these are Azure accounts, and so there's boom, you got SQL experience, Azure experience. You're speaking to those to hire manager. They're like, oh wow, wow, that's what we're looking for. That kind of they don't it's you don't have to do it for a Fortune 500 company. You could have done it on your own as long as you know what you're talking about. You have some semblance of what you're talking about. You could paint some picture of a story of a time that you touched that or did that. That's all they care about. Even if you had to Google the whole thing and YouTube the whole thing and use Chat GPT to help you do, like they don't care. Being resourceful is a skill. All right, is a skill that they love when newbies, especially self-taught newbies, are resourceful. All right, because you're going to have to get and be resourceful when you get on these calls. Because I promise you, you're going to run into things you don't know and don't have no idea about what is. And you're going to have time to go research those things or ask people who do know. Be resourceful. So the next time you see things like that, I see people get spooked by qualifications all the time. Stop letting those qualifications spook you. Apply anyway and make the hiring managers and recruiters do their job and disqualify you. If you might, you gonna be in most cases, you're gonna be highly surprised what you qualify for. I know I did when I first got my first cloud architect role. I was like, y'all really gonna hire me and pay me as an architect? I ain't never been a cloud. But I applied and then they pushed me through, got through the interview, da da da. All right, so let me get to the third one because I really want some more White Foster tonight. It looks really good and it tastes really good, and I'm really hungry. The third one. This is the technical round, baby. This is the technical round. Now, here's what most people fear, especially newbies. They fear, and these are even professionals who have been cloud engineers in the field, but they're looking to go to the next level of senior cloud engineer, mid cloud engineer, or even a cloud architect or what have you. And they just feel, oh, they're gonna crush me. No, they're not. They're gonna ask you maybe. First off, none of these people want to be here in these interviews as much as you. The only person that's probably excited to do these interviews are the recruiters because it's their job. All right. The rest of these people, maybe the hiring manager might be a little happy too. Maybe, maybe not, because they're getting an HR person using, they got 1,000 other things to do. But the engineers, none of them want to be there in these interviews. All right. So they don't want to be sitting here doing all this research to quiz you on because they got like 8 other or candidates or 6 other candidates or 3 other candidates to talk to. They're only at most usually going to ask you between 3 to 4 technical questions. The leading question they're going to ask you is they're going to say, tell me about yourself. That is when the ball is in your court to run. Run as far down the field as you much possibly can by squeezing out the juice of your story. This is when you need to be a good salesman. All right. You need to sell them on your story of how you basically fostered yourself to become a cloud professional. All right. To become knowledgeable, to have credential, to be credentialed. Tell them only just tell them the glory stuff. Tell them the ugly parts too. They love hearing when you got stuck on something. What did you do? They love hearing when you couldn't process something or it didn't work. What did you do? They love that. Especially during the technical round. They love what did you do when it didn't work? When pressure was on, when the client was peed off, when when a customer was upset. They want to know that. What did you do to get around it? If you had to Google, if you had to YouTube, if you had to talk to a chat tech group that you're part of, if you had to talk to the other students in your BCE cloud training camp, what did you do? That stuff is going to show them that how resourceful you are and what lengths you're willing to go through to solve a problem. Because that's what they're paying you for, to solve a problem. They're not paying you to be a instructor and know everything. They're paying you to solve problems. All right. Good money at that. So the technical rounds aren't something to be intimidated about, it's something to be excited about. Because and guess what? If you don't get past the technical round, guess what? You learned what kind of because most of the questions are going to be the same across various companies, especially the technical questions. And some of these, most, and not even some, most times, these questions they're asking are things they're pulling off Google. What is a security group? What's the difference between an IAM and a Google bucket? Well, IAM and a service account. What's the difference between what is a different what is a and they're not going to go super specific and say, well, tell me all EC2 family types. They don't care. That's not relevant to the role. They're just going to ask you, well, if I were to ask you to how to deploy, I need an application. We have front end engineers who just built the application and they need to deploy it to AWS Cloud. Tell me the steps you will go through. Now, all these steps don't have to be perfect. You can misstep some things. You can first start off by saying, well, to my knowledge, you're setting the standard already. Like, look, there's things I'm not aware of, but here's what I am aware of. Boom. Well, I know that I received the code, I received the application. I want to know. Well, I asked them, well, what kind of servers do they need? Do they need Linux servers? Do they need to be Windows servers? Do they need to be the latest and greatest? Do they have to be a specific version? Okay, cool. They need Linux server. So I set up my Linux servers, all right, in my IC environment. Well, that's another question. Do they want them in the IC environment or do I need to build it through the console? Like you know this stuff by studying for your courses, exams, doing your project. This is why projects are important as certifications. That's why it's projects and certifications, because those things build you up to be able to talk like a cloud tech professional. It's not just you're learning what an EC2 type is. It's not you're just learning what an S3 bucket is. Not you're just learning what the regions are. It's not you're learning availability zones. It's you learning the vernacular and how to bring it all together. And they're gonna be like, oh, okay, cool, 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 cool. And now they might throw in something and they might make a suggestion and be open to their. Don't be like, oh no, I never heard of that. Or be like, oh no, no, I don't think that'll work. No, play cool. Be like, oh, okay, well, I appreciate it. I wasn't aware of that. Now I am. I appreciate that. Like you got to still show through this whole phase of interviews that you're a team player. They hate know-it-alls. The more you try and listen, you go in these interviews and try to act like you're a know-it-all, they're gonna find out. They're gonna make you find out you're not a know-it-all. Because they every organization has shrewd engineers who know a lot, who know so much, it's like useless information they just know. And they're gonna find something that you don't know, and then ha 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 if you want to play that game. But don't play that game. Play a smart game. Look, I admit what you don't know. They love, listen, I can't tell you how many engineers love hearing you just don't know, but you can find out. And this is how you will find out. These are your tools you will use. That will go a long, long, long way. All right. Even if they want you to come in and be a SME, you don't know, but you can find out. And here's how I will find out. And if it sounds something reasonable to them, they're like, okay, we can live with that. Yeah. So did that make sense to y'all? That's the technical round. Again, they're going to at most ask you 3 to 4 questions. They're not going to quiz you 10. If anybody in the technical round is quizzing you more than 6 questions, that's likely going to be an organization you don't want to work for anyway, because they're not really looking for a They're not looking for talent to fill a gap. They're really probably in it just looking for. It's probably going to be a pain in the ass organization. That's not going to be fun to work in. And that's just being honest with you. They're probably very stuck up, very tight knit, very just. It's like, bro, unless it's Google and they're not Google, like it's a waste of time. It's going to be an organization that's likely going to underpay you and make you try to make you work hard crap to death. All right. But most good companies aren't asking you more than 4 to 5 questions. And it's going to last usually between 30 minutes to an hour, not because they're gonna ask you so many questions. It's because these are long form questions and answers, and y'all are dialoguing the whole time. How are you doing? I'm doing well. Where are you at? I'm in Atlanta. Oh, well, how's the weather in Atlanta? Oh, well, the weather's cool, but it's kind of warm today. And but it's been storming all week. Oh man, that's crazy. It's been storming up here in Seattle. That already took 30 seconds. So you're gonna be talking like that and it's gonna go by so fast, right? And then they're gonna ask you, okay, they're gonna like, all right, let's get to you're at a good company. You're talking to a good company or these good engineers, and they'll be like, all right, let's get to these questions. Right. Again, they don't want to be there as much as you don't want to be there, you know. So just be cool, make it a good time for everybody. I promise you, I'll tell you one real quick before I get to the last step. I remember this one job, I was interviewing for this role, and I didn't get the role that I interviewed for. I did really well in the interview. They gave me great remarks. Usually, if they're good, again, this is why it's important to have a good recruiter who has a good relationship with the company, because you get intel. So usually, a good recruiter can give you feedback where this is what the employer thought of you, blah blah blah. So they gave me say, yeah, X Y Z, your technical stuff, da 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 da. You just don't have enough enterprise level experience that they're looking for this specific role. I said, cool. All right, cool. It's cool. Don't be an a-hole to the recruiter just because you didn't get the job. Always remain cool. Hey, I appreciate it. If you got their other contacts of the people who interview you, tell them thank you, blah, blah, blah. I promise you. And it's happened like this twice in my career. I think it was like 2 months later. He called me and said, hey man, they want to offer you the role, the job. That job we talked about. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He said, they want to offer you the job. I was like, for real? I was like, damn, all right, so when they want to set up the interview? He said, no, there's no more interviews. You got the job. They made the role for you. Like they said, we needed this type of person. They say you might not be here where we need it right now for that specific role, but we have this role that they opened up and created just for you, and they're gonna still pay you this amount that you interviewed for. I said, boy, come on. Let's go. Like and it's went like that twice in my career. Like so you gotta play the game, baby. You gotta have this is why these interpersonal skills that we spend so much time on in our boot camp is important because you gotta be able to be able to you gotta be long-winded. You gotta stay in the process, not get frustrated and cut everybody off because you didn't get what you want immediately. You gotta go through it. So did that make sense about the technical round? Did that make sense? Did the grease get hot at that point? Y'all let me know. And then give me some fours if y'all ready for the last step in the interview process. What's happening, NC? Don't talk so much. My cigar went out. Mhm. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Cool. All right, so here's the last step. Now, the last step is you're going to usually be they're gonna call you for the interview, like interview went great, technical round went great, da 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 da. Usually in the technical round again, they're not looking for you to know everything. They're just looking for you not they're looking for you to blow your own opportunity. All right. So they're not looking to say, oh, he didn't know everything. They're looking to say, okay, yeah, he knows it. They want to give you the opportunity. Yeah, he knows enough to do the job. Because in most cases, the engineers who are doing technical round are the persons who do this every day. They're actually the best people to talk to and ask questions about the job because they do this every day. They're in the weeds of doing the job every day. And in most cases, they know if you know enough to do the job or not. And even regardless of what the job board says, the job board might be asking for 80 things. They know on that job board, you're really only doing two or three consistently. Hmm. So that's why I say you should be excited for the technical round. All right. So last round, you get into that, you got past the recruiter, you got past the hiring manager, you got past the technical round. Now you're going to your last round. Now you're going to talk to the big boy. All right. You're going to sit at the big table, the adult table. And you're either going to be sitting with the VP or the director themselves. All right, you're gonna love this part. They don't know nothing about the technical. Excuse me. They don't know nothing about the technical technical requirements of the job. Really, they really don't. They so far removed. They're a C-level suite executive. All right, but they care about culture, and they're trying to cultivate a specific kind of work culture. Some of them want a more diligent work corporate culture, a more disciplined work culture, one that's more serious, one that's a little bit lighthearted. Everybody varies, but this is purely a personality interview. You cannot blow this fourth interview. When you get to that fourth round, it's usually a difference between you and the other candidates. All right, it's really going to be based off of likability at this point. Not even likability, but just meshability. Your mesh with the culture that VP or that director envisions for that department or organization. This is when I just want to hear your story. And this is where you pour on, baby. You pour on your story of how you struggled at the beginning and built yourself up to be an engineer, a potential candidate that's interviewing within the day. You tell them your side, boy, you about to put on an academy performance. You hear me? All right, just like, hey, look, I started out from here, da 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 da. I studied here, da 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 da. I got this here, da 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 da. Then I started studying for that. Then I started applying for job, da da da. I went through this interview phase, da 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 da. And tell your story, whatever your story is. This is when you sell the whole dream of yours. You about to get somebody, man. You about to preach to somebody during this fourth round interview. It's so lax. It's all personality. They're not asking you no technical questions. You can throw that you can throw that job description off the table. I've always been interested in the SRE role. I've always been interested in the automation role. I've always been interested in the cloud engineer role. Whatever, you know, you about to sell your dreams here. All right. So when I tell you, this is your opportunity to blow by getting to this fourth round. And this is why you got to have stamina. You got to be long winded because it's a process. These interviews, 3 to 4 interviews, can take anywhere from they can do it all in a week to it's going to take a month. you know. So just because of time. All right. But let me see. The last 2 points you ain't never lied. The engineers know and see how last week it's all about culture. Yeah. When I tell you I don't been through it so many times off the back of my head, I know. So I appreciate that, Sam. But yeah, it's all about culture, man. They just want to see if you're a good culture fit. So be lively, relax a little bit, chill, be cool, be professional slightly, but be personable. That's where you get to be personal and build a connection with that VP. I done built so many connections with the last fourth person I'm interviewing with, and some jobs, most of the jobs I never got, but even the ones I did get, I never probably talked to that VP person again directly. Never. Maybe 1 to 2 times, but never, man. But we don't have an intimate one heart to heart in our interview process. And they want to give you the opportunity. They want you to get the job. Everybody in this process wants you to get the job. There's nobody really in this process except for the recruiter. Recruiter don't care in most cases if they're a bad recruiter or a poor recruiter. But if they're a really, really good recruiter, like I said, having a good recruiter is like having a good tax person. It's a necessity. All right. They are a blessing. You hear me? But everybody else, yeah, everybody else throughout the interview process wants to see you go through the steps, especially if they like you. Like they say, man, that's a cool person I will work with. And that's the main thing you got to maintain that you're a cool person to work with. Don't go in there all personality A type, just spitting out code and spitting out variables, spitting out computing knowledge. No, be cool, be relaxed, laugh, smile, crack a joke. All right. Jokes get you a long way. This is 80% interpersonal communication and 20% technical. Getting the job and being in the job. We're gonna talk about that other part another day about being in a job. But sell them dreams, sell them dreams, baby. You gotta sell them dreams, baby. They love to hear your underdog story, all of that, because in most cases, a lot of them come from that. Their VP or director, they in most cases didn't come through being an engineer or a cloud engineer. Cloud engineer probably wasn't even a thing when they were coming up. Most cases, a lot of them are project managers coming from different industries and found the opportunity to be VP director here and what have you, and landed this opportunity for a tech company. They don't want to hear, they're more interested in what kind of gaming consoles that you use versus what's your favorite OS system or what's your favorite version of a Red Hat. you know? So yeah, crack a joke, man. Be personable. So um and yeah, and just be patient. If you don't hear back, usually, I will say that if you don't hear back from them, but if it's a weekend, give it a weekend, give it a weekend and a day. And usually that Tuesday they hit you back and let you know. If they hit you back Tuesday, like if they hit you back and it's a weekend, they hit you back a day after the weekend or 2 days after the weekend, you likely got the job. Now, if it's been about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks you ain't heard from nobody, chances are you didn't get the job. But don't fret. Don't give up. Don't, you want to block the recruiter, you want to talk down on the recruiter, you want to make a little angry post on social media, LinkedIn. Don't blow it because I've had it happen too many times where I didn't get a job initially. And 3 months down the road, they spit the block and offered me the job for various reasons. I'm talking about the most. And one day I'm gonna we're gonna do a take a night when we talk to you about all the jobs that I didn't get that I end up getting. And also because personality goes a long way too. Build rapport. Okay. Send these people a LinkedIn request. Message them. Thank you for your time. Da, 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 da. It was cool talking about da 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 da. Anytime you want to talk about da 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 da, we can just hit me up. We can chat, whatever. You know, college football. Oh my God. If that's whatever your strong point is, baby, whatever your strong point is, and they relate. If they college football, they Aggies or they UGA Bulldogs, or man, you up in there. You almost like alumni in there, even if you didn't go to that college. Protein shake. All right, Prince. All right. So, all right, before we get off, and I go have pasta that my wife made and go back to having a regular life. Okay. Hopefully was this useful to y'all? Did I provide y'all with some good tips and steps on how to get the interview process? Does it give you some sense of relief on what you're going to expect, anticipate going through the process? Now, again, if also I want to throw this out there. If you're interviewing with a company and it's more than 4 rounds of interviewing, most cases it's not worth your time. These companies are actually getting so tired of interviewing themselves that now they're trying to shorten it to do 2 to 3 rounds. That's what I'm starting to see as well. But if it's 4, 6 rounds, if it's anything more than 4 rounds, if it's 5, 6, 7, if they gotta see, we gotta see you again. And it's not like a fame company, a big time Fortune 500 company, and it's not like a high level senior role, SME role, architect role. Mm-mm, not worth your time. Disregard the product. You're gonna because the part that's gonna piss you off. You're gonna talk to so many hiring managers, especially and recruiters who don't have any idea what this technical jargon you're talking about. No idea. By asking you all these technical questions and don't know nothing about a nothing and saying, well, we got to talk. Have you talked to this person? And this. So anything more than 4 rounds usually isn't worth your time unless you're going for a senior level role. Would you say, Sammy, the confidence you get from your channel? Oh, I appreciate that. Helped you. Word. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate that, G. That's what I'm talking about. Content three. I'm telling you, these man. I've had some of the most enlightening conversations in these interviews. It's like you gotta. They don't want to be there. So if they don't want to be there, at least make it worth their worthwhile. And they're gonna want to push you on, even if they don't push you on. Let's say they don't. They're gonna tell you what it's gonna take to get to the next. Or most cases, they're gonna tell you. They're gonna say, "Look, I'm gonna push you on. You ain't got everything you're looking for, but I'm gonna push you on anyway. But here's what they expect in the next round. They're gonna grill you in this next round. They're gonna ask this and that in the next round, and they're gonna prepare you. They're gonna prepare your ass off to be able to pass the next round. Like people want to see other people win. They know how hard it is to get these opportunities. So one, don't take it for likely that you're getting interviewed by the hiring manager or your technical rounds. Do not take that for lightly. Only few people make it that far. There's probably hundreds of people that apply for this role. And if you got a call from a recruiter, that means you have something interesting about your resume. Your resume is good. Stop editing your resume. If you're getting calls from your recruiter, stop editing your resume. I'm gonna say that again. If you're getting calls from recruiters at least 3 to 4 times a week or emails, stop editing your resume. Your resume is good. Okay. All right. If anything, start working on your interview skills, maybe, and that's it. Start sharpening your technical knowledge. That's it. Sharpen your technical knowledge and work on your interviewing skills. But stop tweaking in your resume. Stop going back in the lab, fixing movements. You're gonna mess your algorithms of your resume up. If you get verbal offer on Monday, reached out on 4 days later, no response, does that mean just move on? Here's my thing. I live by the principle of this. It's not in the bag until I get my first paycheck. I'll be honest with you. They could even got me to sign the offer letter. I started the job. The job ain't really, really, really mine, and I don't even post any of my success stories of people I help until they got their first paycheck. They be like, "Well, I got the job." I'm like, "Okay, great. When do you start?" They tell me I start date. Cool. I said, "All right, cool. I ain't saying nothing. I don't want you to say nothing until you get your first paycheck." All right, because I've seen the wildest things happen. All right, so all but with that in mind, always interview. Keep interviewing until you get your first paycheck. That means if you got the job offer, you signed on the dotted line, you got the job, still keep interviewing with other jobs in between until you get your first paycheck. Then you can be like, okay, yeah, I got a job. This is a legitimate company. So hopefully that makes sense. You went through a 5 round interview process. Went through a 5 round, but the company recently over a 3 month period didn't get the position. See? See, usually I'm telling you, if it's more than 4 rounds of interviewing and it's not for a high level role, a senior level role, it's usually going to be a waste of time because it's an organization that don't really know what they're doing. Uh, they're probably doing a lot of organizational internal changes. They're probably restructuring their finances. They're probably the role that they originally wanted to pay out. They probably want to pay less than. They're probably interviewing so many other prospects and that's another thing. They're not interviewing like 10 or 12 people. They're probably only interviewing 6 of y'all. So out of 100 people, or maybe I'm gonna be honest with you, when people say 100 people apply for these jobs, 200, 800, no, that means 200. That's just like a YouTube video. That means like 200, 300 people actually view the video. It's probably only five people, six people, not five. I'm probably say like 23, 32 people that actually apply for the job, even on those one push apply job sites. Like those numbers are inflated out there so that these job sites can continue to get ad revenue for companies to pay to post their jobs on it. Say we get a lot of candidates that apply for these. No, they don't apply for the job. They look at the jobs or they share the jobs. But and when you're doing an interview, you're probably only competing with 3 to 6 people. They don't have, again, it costs so much time and money to interview. They don't have it in them to be interviewing 12 or 13 or 50 candidates at one time. No, that means you need to take pride in you getting interviewed. That means take it as, wow, I am good enough. All right. Like you beat a lot of people around the world for this position, for the opportunity for at this position. So stop turning your resume. All right, y'all. I'm getting out of here. I appreciate y'all as always. Do want to make one statement or a couple things, but mainly we finished our boot camp this year a couple weeks ago. Enrollment for boot camp will start. Open enrollment will start at the end of March. The exact date I'll come back and say later on. I think it's going to be the 22nd of March. And the enrollment ends May 1st. So, save your tax money. All right. And as always, I am offering a specific discount for military vets. So if you're prior military or you're in the military, you're looking to get this cloud training, this A1 cloud training, baby, shoot me an email, info@bcloudengineers. I'm gonna ask for like some type of PIV card or some proof that you were, served in the military because, I love our people. I love my country. And I try to help as much as I can. To qualify for that percentage discount, shoot me an email and I'll give you the discount code to apply. But other than that, yeah, everything is on bcloudengineers.com. We got a quiz also that I started rolling out that you can take prior to boot camp to know what kind of skills or know what should you know to be prepared for boot camp. Like if this boot camp is best for you, so that's going to be on the page probably by tomorrow. But yeah, other than that, subscribe to the channel, man. Be Cloud Engineers. Share with somebody who's trying to get into tech. Hopefully I provided you all with some value tonight that y'all can take with you and run. Continue doing the work, putting in the work. Start ignoring the naysayers out there. And man, remember, man, you had what it took the entire time. All right, y'all, Demecos Chambers. Yeah, up here, like my hairline up here. Yeah.